Let's break the mold, start believing, and stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Welcome to Wild on 7, presented by Pilot Games. We're here until it's here.
Well, and welcome back to the rare summer edition of the podcast. This is Wild on 7th, presented by Pilot Games. I'm sitting here with a very tan John King. He's got a Hawaiian shirt on. He's going full summer mode. It's July 6th. So we're probably fully recovered from all festivities pertaining to the 4th. Doesn't look like you have firework burns on your hands or anything like that, so that's a good thing. Actually, let's talk about that. What's the best way, or how do you consume the 4th of July fireworks?
Do you know what's horrible? Is I didn't even go watch them this year. I just didn't even walk to the dock and watch them.
Is that because you weren't able
No,
for some reason?
No. It actually makes me feel bad about myself. Maybe we can get Better Health to be a sponsor or something. But I didn't even. I was like,
you were over it.
I was like, I don't know, fireworks. It's horrible. I don't want to be that version of myself.
Well, I think what the issue is now you live on the lake, so the lake is no big deal to you. It's like a pool table in your basement. It's really cool for the first week, and then you're like, this thing's just a storage table after a while.
Rink in your backyard.
Yeah. You're just like, you know what? It's always there. I don't need to go out there. You think there's anything to that? Because you're moving up in the world.
Well, I did go to a couple parties, which was fun. Sloppy Joe's.
That was a party?
No, that was a menu item. They had some chips and cheese dip. What else did we have? Little tiny Rice Krispie bar squares, like the size of a quarter. I wish they were the Special K ones with the chocolate on top. I prefer those. I think they're called Snickeroos.
Yeah.
Nah, maybe. Huss? I don't know.
It's a little early in the podcast, but this seems like a natural transition. Was there any coleslaw there?
Oh, should we just go at it? Well, it is slaw season. If you want a crisp, cool delight next to your warm hamburger, brat, dog. If you're a good American, you should support Jimmy's salad dressings and dips. 3 types of coleslaw: original, fat-free, pineapple. Jimmy's just kicks ass, to be honest with you. I know we're bonusing everybody. We love all these sponsors, but I love Jimmy's. Don't you be messing with my dressing.
And don't sleep on the slaw. It really is slaw season. It makes everything better.
Yeah, leave a place at the table for slaw. Don't sleep on the slaw.
Slaw's like the fireworks of your sandwich, if you like barbecue sandwiches. But so fireworks, I think the best way to consume.
Where did you watch?
We're northern Minnesota.
Oh, up at the parents' cabin situation.
Longville, Minnesota.
Okay.
And
what's the name of the lake?
It's a secret.
It's a secret lake.
Yeah, I catch my fish. I post fishing pictures, and everybody will know where I catch them.
When you post it, you can put like Nunya Business as the location? Do you do that?
No.
I like that when people do that.
But there's a couple ways you can drive in. Each town, northern Minnesota, seems to have like their premier lake, and then they'll have fireworks on that lake. And you can drive in to see them, or you can go out on the boat and watch them from the nearest bay, or you could probably try to sit on your dock wherever it is. And this is a big lake, 6,000 acres. But what's best is when you're right there and you're close to them over the water. There's boats absolutely everywhere. It's nuts to butts boats, and the fireworks are going off, boom. And I love it when you can feel the boom like in your chest.
In the chest.
And then you're watching the fireworks. Yeah. That's the ultimate way. If you can somehow...
Kind of a thunder and lightning sort of situation, right?
Exactly. Boom, fireworks. The kids, their mouths are open watching, catching mosquitoes in there. But yeah,
so you were on water.
That's the way. In my opinion, that's the way to do it for sure. On the water, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing. I wasn't in a good spot that night. We haven't seen much of each other over the summer. I feel like I only saw you once.
It is unfortunate. It's nice that you respond to my texts now. when I'll be looking for some action, I'll text John and he'll say, "I can't make it. I got other things going on. I'm having too much fun.
I'm unable to drive.
In my daily life."
I think is what I said. I think you texted me from the VFW, and I said I'm unable to drive. If you would like to come to my house on the way home and smoke a cigar, I will pay for your second Uber. I thought that was very generous.
It was generous.
I had a real cigar, 70 degrees in the humidor. I was actually excited. I thought you might come. But that's okay. I think we can rebuild our chemistry. I bet Zuki and Kirill, they're not together all the time in the summer. They probably have a little space.
Yeah, a little bit.
And Sagan, right?
Yeah.
They're stretching out.
But something tells me if Kirill or Zuki were within walking distance of one another and they text each other, "Hey, you want to hang out?" they would probably say, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, I should have gone. Now, keep in mind, I just told you I didn't walk down the dock to look at fireworks on the 4th of July, so I don't know what's happening to me in general. Do you think we have Billy Guerin on today, amazing guest. We love talking to Billy. One question I didn't ask him that I'm still just so curious about is, where do you think Kirill is this summer? Because I told you this, if you tell a Russian that they can't go to Russia, you for sure go to Russia because it's the most Russian thing you could ever do.
Is that where you were going with that?
Well, I was
going
going
to
ask. Yeah, I was going to say, hey, so I was going to start with a joke is Kirill in Istanbul, to warm him up, and actually he's at near U.S. Bank, but I was just kind of I don't think you can tell a Russian hey, so kind of ixnay on the Russian that doesn't work. For sure, he's finding a way to go to Russia with a private military company or something. I think, right?
I have no idea, but he's
just running 5Ks in Minnesota, or what is he doing?
He's flipping tires. Well, in the rain.
I haven't seen any footage on his Instagram. There's nothing.
Oh, flipping tires in the rain?
No flipping tires in the rain.
Well, maybe
would also be a great country song.
Maybe Russia's like Minnesota. It doesn't rain anymore.
That's true. It has been. I like it, the heat. Do you like what's going on with the weather?
No.
Really?
No.
I think it's been great. We complain all year about how we have this 8-month winter, and then it's just hot as hell, and the lakes are open, and now it's too hot.
Yeah, I'll go back. The heat doesn't bother me at all. I'm not oh, it's too hot to enjoy anything outside. I just need the rains because my yard is like a Triscuit, and then the bees need nectar, so I need the flowers to grow and to be healthy.
So are the bees at risk right now?
Well, I just think that they're temperamental, and if without a nectar flow, they get real grumpy.
Without a nectar flow, that's good. So are you a big yard guy too? Do you pick every do you have an immaculate lawn?
No.
Do you have a striper on your mower?
No.
Okay, so your hobbies are. You're deep into apples, we know from the Real OG podcast.
Well, I like certain apples. I'd like to have apple trees, but you do need bees to pollinate them.
You've ruined multiple podcasts talking about apples. And I actually don't even want to start now you're starting to do it again.
Just eat Honeycrisp. But you can only get them in October.
Carter. Honey is a hobby. Now, you hurt your back, so you usually play golf every Monday for 16 weeks in a row, probably because you're a celebrity type guy, but you injured yourself grabbing a box of cereal off a shelf, or what happened?
Exactly, yeah.
What was it actually you were moving?
I don't know, something from the garage.
Like a gas can or something?
No, a tub.
Ooh, so it was a bigger item.
Yeah.
Oh, a bin.
Yeah.
Okay, and then and are you back to 100%?
As close as I think I'll be, yeah.
Have you been using the ETS performance gyms? Because you seem swole. You seem like you're fit.
I'm not swole, but yeah, I've been when the back was bad, so you have to work your way into health again. So yeah, I've been going to the gym. But yeah, summer's been going good. I can't complain.
Market Fest?
I haven't been to Market Fest, but I did go to the Manitou Days Parade.
Yep, saw you there. The Market Fest.
For those of you that don't know, White Bear Lake has this great Market Fest season. It's every Thursday. It's from 6 to 9 p.m. They shut down downtown White Bear Lake, multiple streets, and they have food vendors come in, games for the kids, and it's all kicked off with a parade at the start of the year, the Manitou Days Parade. And then, I don't know, it's probably 2 months every Thursday. So swing by White Bear Lake, check out Market Fest, hit John up. He'll swing by there.
I would love to see you. Come on out. There's a great hamburger out there. Makes a great burger.
Yeah.
Check it out.
There's a lot of good stuff out there.
So getting into the hockey, in my rigorous preparation for this podcast, I looked at the Wild's Instagram to see what's happened between the end of the season and now. I'm going to do this in less than 60 seconds, okay? Gaudreau had a birthday, Duhaime, Gus had a birthday. We signed Johansson. We're going to Sweden. Some guys played in the World Championships. Some people colored the Tria rink. There's a crazy game of poker this weekend, actually. McLean, how do we say his name? Signed with Iowa, one of our assistants. McLovin. Some Wild guys went to the Hendrickson Festival. Some people went to a hospital. There were some feel-good photos. Father's Day, Juneteenth. Joe Mauer skated. Best of picture series with like Freddie and Sam Steele. Tiger Lily is the country band at this crazy game stuff. Gus had a baby. Bus. Dumba had a best of photo series. Johnny Vibes went to Pride. Draft throwback photos. The schedule came out, and that was kind of what happened. Ryan Hartman wore a Wild on 7 T-shirt at the Hendrickson Festival. Notice that little nugget. Fan of the program.
I also noticed that is he a hibachi chef? Was that on the Wild account too?
He's good on social. He likes things. I like when like players like stuff on the team page.
What do you mean like he actually clicks the button?
Yeah, like you see,
The
like
heart?
if you're looking at a picture of like best of photos of Freddie Gaudreau, like it'd be like liked by Ryan Hartman.
Yeah.
Like he's just on his couch, like, yeah, good
Double
job,
tapping.
team. Good job, team. I support this photo collection of my teammate.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hartsy's a good guy. He's active on the social. Going to the premise of our podcast, they released the schedule.
Dramatic pause.
Sorry, they released the schedule. I got to get my smartphone. And I want to say this guy's name, even though we shouldn't, but so they released the schedule on Instagram, and this guy, you know how there's like the first comment is on top, hey, you just kill some time for me here.
Sure.
Just help me out. I'm not going to be able to.
Rushing it right now.
I'm not going to be able to find
This
it.
is what his prep is actually like. It's a chicken scratch on a 4x4 notebook, and he does it in the car in the parking lot. So it's almost like he can't prep till he's on the clock, and he's not on the clock till he pulls that parking ticket in the garage, and then he starts to prep, and he writes the things down. That's when. Will you answer the question? Is that when you went through the Wild's Instagram? Was in the parking garage?
I actually did it at Lifetime Athletic Club before driving to the parking lot this morning. But what I was going to say is...
Is that why you asked if I've been working out? Because you wanted me to ask you if you've been working out?
No, I don't.
You're going to drop your workout routine into this podcast one way or the other. Are we ready to land this plane yet? Did you find what you're looking for?
I did. So I think this is proof that the podcast needs to come back. So the Wild put on their Instagram, they say... Lake Life featuring the Fire games in the Minnesota Wild schedule. So this is the first time they've dropped the new schedule for 23-24 to their own fan base. First comment. Let's say that his name is Chris Mitchell Jr. Chris.Mitchell Jr. Comes right out of the chutes. Can't wait for another first round exit. And then tag someone. So that's on, like when you see the post on Instagram, that's the first comment in there. Like what is that? Why? That's just so bad. And you know, talking to Billy, it seems like, because one of the things I learned watching the playoffs is you used to say, don't get too high, don't get too low. Holy crap, is it a long ride if you're going to win the cup? You know, you look at Toronto, they have ecstasy because they finally win a first round. Then they're the biggest losers in the world because they get pounded in the second round. Florida comes out of nowhere. Matthew Tkachuk is a mouthguard chewing superhero, right? Vegas is as advertised. I mean, it was just madness. And, you know, we only got, you know, if it's a 2-month deal, we got 2 weeks. You know, it's a blip. And to go that far and win it. And what I took from Billy a little bit today is construct your team the right way so that you can get into the playoffs. And then, you know, guys have to be guys. and you have to get it done in the playoffs. There's a little luck involved,
Yeah.
but it was kind of like, I mean, he's not saying chip in a chair, but it's a little bit like all you can do is build it the right way, get into the bracket, and then anything can happen. You know, the Florida story is a lot different than the Vegas story, right? You got a pedigree, conference winning, best fourth line in hockey, gigantic Vegas team. And then you've got Florida, 8 seed, slaying the Giants, the Bruins, etc. I mean, so what was your take on the playoffs? Like, I mean, just get in?
You have to get in. You have to get lucky. You have to be good. Like
Get in, get lucky,
and be good.
That's next. We got next year's playoff thing. That's probably.
Well, don't you think? And we asked Billy about it, but I legitimately think that there's something.
He kind of said that.
You know, and the Sun Belt State theory is probably an analogy would be, you know how you have your cell phone battery and you buy it and it's fully charged, and then depending on how you charge it, like you can get it up to 99%, but it's never fully 9. Like if you open your phone right now and you check the battery health on it, it'll say like 87%. You cannot charge it to 100% in.
Ever again?
No, because the battery life left in there is max 87% of what it was before. I think that's what games during the regular season are like. So you recharge your battery, but you're maxed out at like 87%, like your cell phone battery now. You can charge the same amount, but it's only maxed out at 87. That's what it's, the Sun Belt states, they somehow can prolong that so they can recharge that battery and it's like 99%. So they just don't have the mental wear and tear, I think. But Florida, same with Florida. And after we signed off, who ended up winning? Florida went on a heater.
Well, there were four warm climate teams in it.
Yeah.
It was Dallas, Florida, Vegas, and the fourth one was hot too.
Seattle?
No.
Colorado? No.
Help us out, Huss. Was it Carolina? I don't know. But it was it was all warm climate. I was trying to ask Billy, and I think it's funny when you were saying that stuff. You really, I mean, last time you joined us on the podcast, Carter said it was all the fans' fault. We're going to set that one aside. He said, big physical hockey is going to win in the end, and that is exactly what Vegas was. And then he said, warm climate makes a huge difference in wanting to continue playing. Mm-hmm. I think you could absolutely make the case. You say, hey, guys, we get into the dance this year. Here's how this is going to work. Depending on who we're playing, neutral site, Camp Wild, okay? We're gonna be in a warm climate as much as possible. We're gonna post up somewhere with a rink. It's gonna be golf carts, and as long as you're in the playoffs, you got to apologize to your wife and kids, but you are gonna be in the sunshine, chasing a Stanley Cup, having the time of your life with your boys, and you're not gonna want it to end. Not just because of the cup, but because we're gonna put you on this. What was the name of his bar in Pinewood Social? Basically, we're gonna create Bushwood of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you're not going home. You're not in St. Paul until it gets warm, and we're gonna keep moving you around on the vitamin D train. I think that's worth spending money on. I think there's some heart to what you're saying, and just having guys be like, God, the playoffs are the best, man. Yeah. We're in Arizona all the time, or Vegas, or whatever it is, Gulf Shores, Alabama. I don't care, and we got a little rink. We golf. We ride around in golf carts like it's a football mini camp. And I never want the playoffs to end ever. I mean, I'm sure there's some cost to that, and it's kind of crazy, but I think you're right. Yeah. I mean, otherwise, what are we going to get, lamps for guys? I mean, that sucks because you can't trust Minnesota. Canada hasn't run a cup since Patrick Waugh in 92, 93, and we're basically the most southern province of Canada. So we're in the gray. So I think we post up somewhere.
Boom.
Nashville, Arizona, Mullet Arena. They're not going to be in.
Speaking of posting up somewhere, we need to post up in Sweden, schedule release.
I want to go to Sweden. When is that game?
It's like November.
Let's go to Sweden.
Wouldn't that be sweet?
I think it would be fun.
That would be great.
Do you think we can get the Wild to send us there? You're going to go there. Automatically?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Is it a national game?
I would assume.
Okay, we should go to Sweden.
Yeah, let's go.
Do you have any other notes on the draft? I think this Pat Maroon. I was worried, with Dumba leaving, because we're around the team a lot, right? Dumba, Reeves, these are some pretty big personalities, buddies with a lot of the guys. I think this Maroon signing could be. You start to have a little pontoon boat with Jake Middleton, Ryan Hartman, Pat Maroon. You start to feel a little better about your knucklehead factor. Do you think that's a meaningful signing or not?
Yeah, no, I absolutely do. I think it'll be great. They lose some personality for sure in Dumba and in Reeves. And I love Dumbs. Best of luck to him wherever he ends up playing. But at the same time, like it always felt like there was, as positive a dude as he is, there's always like negativity around
Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not from him.
And he had a good year, and he was great in the playoffs. He's a playoff guy.
Yeah, it's not from him, but it's just like whenever a deadline would approach, it's got to trade him, you're going to trade him. And then whenever, free agency rolls around or something like that, it's like, it just felt like the poor guy was just always under siege a little bit. So they lose some personality and some energy, but then they bring Maroon in, who I think will offset some of that for sure. And it's a different kind of vibe, a different kind of energy. But I also think that the way Maroon plays, like on the wall, heavy, like he's kind of got some skill. He's got good hands. I mean, he's not going to, blow your doors off with his pace or his speed or anything like that. But he's a good player and a good fit, and he can pitch in offensively.
I was looking at his stats. He kind of moves around. He can be a 15-point guy or he can be a 30-point guy, depending on what's happening. He definitely has some upside.
And I think he should be excited too. There should be some opportunity for him. I think when he was in Anaheim, he was like a net front power play guy, and he can play that role. He's skilled, he's big. So there's a chance that he can get some power play minutes here too, and he can bump it back up and be, a 30-point, 15-goal kind of guy. And that's entirely possible for sure.
So this comes full circle to me. So I'm a big Tkachuk fan, always have been, and I've really always liked Pat Maroon. And there was this photo of him on eBay. So when he won the Cup, maybe his second or third time, he was rolling around it was like a scarf, almost like a soccer scarf. I think it was a Lightning scarf or whatever. Shirt off, stogie, like at a karaoke bar. I mean, it was almost like, it was like a true like cowboy just won the Cup, like this. It's not on eBay anymore. I looked, and we could have put it right up here, but I think you can't underestimate that, as Billy put it, guys who can drag other guys into the fight. I think that'll be interesting to see what happens with that. And we certainly are on your plan for being huge, 7th Street Savages. I mean, these are our draft picks. Charlie, 6'3", 215. Rasmus, 6'2", 191. Got a little guy here, Riley Height, 5'11", 178. Pionk, 6'2", 6 foot 187. Kalen Parker, 6 foot 179. Jimmy Clark. It seems like they're trying to shore up the middle, with some big boys.
No, I think that when you make that pick and you have he can play 4 positions, maybe even more than that, right? So you're drafting a guy that could potentially be, a number 1 centerman.
The Dolphin?
Yeah, but you don't have to put the pressure on him there. If he develops into a number 3 centerman, you're good, and he still has the physical attributes to be effective in that role. If he's a number 4 centerman, so be it. But that guy can play a lot of different spots. If you pick a smaller, skilled goal scorer, he can play in a winger 2 positions. He can play the wing on the first line or the second line. And more often than not, that's only on one side. Teams will let him play both sides, but you can play 2 spots. So you pick a guy like that, and it's easier to move from the middle to the wing. So I think it gives you organizational flexibility on how and where you use a guy like that. And it's kind of like a somewhat of an insurance plan. So I don't think that was the intent. I don't think that's the intent of the draft pick. I just think it's more valuable for that reason.
So you like what the Wild are constructing?
Yeah, I do like what they're constructing. I also really like what Wild Construction builds. It is storm season, and although my lawn looks like a Triscuit and I'm hoping for rain, I am thankful that there haven't been a ton of hailstorms. But if there was ever a great time to get your roof redone, it would be now because as they're tearing the shingles off, there's almost zero chance that there will be rain or moisture that gets under the vapor barrier. Yeah, vapor barrier is a big word. I know how it all goes and how it all works. But if you were one of the people that was in a storm area last year and you have questions on whether your roof had damage and you want to know, check out wildconstructionmn.com. They've got a great tool on there that maps out where the damage was. Give them a call. They'll send somebody out. They'll get up on your roof, check it out. That's wildconstructionmn.com.
Tape to tape. Beautiful.
That was nice.
So Devo Camp, Development Camp, Devo Camp. Guerin says he's kind of using Devo. He's kind of.
Well, you were development camp. You see, you do all this stuff off.
Well, I'm not
air,
a Stanley Cup.
Air.
I'm
and
not
then
a Stanley Cup
He
champion.
tries to bring it on air like it's been what he called it all along.
Ryan, I'm not a Stanley Cup champion.
Just to illustrate, he comes in, he's like, I want to know more about development camp and what it is and what it all means. And then we're like, the cool people call it Devo Camp. And so then
I know. I'm Andrew and Wham. You're George Michael. I'm Musina. You're Loggins.
I'm kidding. It's so great. But Devo Camp.
Devo Camp. Sounds like this is Billy basically was like, you're not here to impress anybody. Come in, get your trapper keeper, get your name on the front of your helmet, find out where you're supposed to park, find out where Tom Reed's is, and go back to your part of the country. I mean, it seemed pretty chill.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's not going to go watch
Yeah.
on purpose because he generally thinks the guys should be
He doesn't want to put pressure on him.
yeah, have some time away. But talk about this. You're kind of the poster child for this crazy game of hockey. As an outsider looking in, I watched the Blackhawks reunite their alumni. And I even saw Motzko do that a little bit with the U of M when he came in, where he really kind of put the olive branch out to the former players to build a community around it, not unlike Will Anderson and White Bear Lake with the high school players. What's happening with the Alumni Association, and what does this event mean that's going to be taking place this weekend here in St. Paul?
Well, I think the event is a kickoff for it, and it's to try to raise awareness and maybe some funds and different things and draw. It's a great way to get alumni back in the fold and all together. And then after that, I think the hope is that we can do more events, maybe on a smaller scale. So I think there's a big undertaking for Andrew Haidt, and
the fact that he's in charge of it should be like Fire Festival by the end, right? I mean,
but a successful Fire Festival.
well, hopefully. I only had one experience with him, and I think he seems like he's full entertainment value. He's like something out of Wolf of Wall Street, Whitey. But so the Alumni Association, what is that? Is it like? Is it raising money and then it takes care of the players that used to play for the Wild, or is it what? I don't understand what that means.
Well, I think it's just to have a group of alumni around the club and around
Building the tradition.
Yeah, and around the stadium or the arena for games and different things like that, and to go to events. There you may have an organization that would like a Wild alumni present, and it'd be good to have a group that's willing to do those kinds of things and to be out there. So I think it's just kind of a kickoff to that, and
That's cool.
yeah. So it's 20 some years for the Wild now. There's enough alumni out there that have retired and that are around, and so there's going to be some dudes that fly in. Brodziak, Pierre-Marc Bouchard, old veteran guys that kind of carved the way of the Wild, and getting them back in the fold is just going to be fun, I think.
So the way it goes, Friday night, Pantages Theater. I'm actually really excited about the Friday night deal too. This Yam House band is pretty cool. I've just seen them a few times. They're a good time. This country duo look kind of fun. Tiger Lily. They stick a comedian in the middle, so that's kind of fun. Saturday, 12:30, I think. Is it at Tria?
Mm-hmm.
So celeb game. You're one of the captains. We're going to come back to that.
They're getting everything ready out there right now. It's
yeah,
together.
I saw a lot of banners going up, and then Saturday night you got the OAR Corey Wong concert. You're a captain of one of the celeb games. Now, do you know your roster yet? Do you know what you're working with? Like, is Joe Mauer on your team?
Good question. I think he is. The rosters are out. I don't have them memorized.
So
But
you're a player coach though, because you'll be
I
skating.
don't think I'm coaching.
Well, you're a captain. Okay. Is there a coach? Why wasn't I asked to be a coach? I'm not even involved in anything. Yeah.
Well,
Andrew from Wham. I
Yep.
think Andrew from Wham's still alive, by the way, and George Michael's dead. I should get more respect. So maybe he's dead too. I don't know. So so player coach, like who's the
it's
best
not a
guy?
player coach, but yeah, we're just. It's a. I think it's a game.
Vanek's an asset if you get him. Like who would you want on your team if you wanted to win this thing? Is Wes Walls playing? He goes hard all the time.
Yeah, I think he's playing for sure. I think there's one guy coming into town that I would want on my team.
Okay, who's this?
Greg Ostertag.
Really?
You know that
Big man?
basketball player?
Wow.
Apparently,
Isn't he like 7 feet tall?
Yes. Can you imagine? It's going to be
Is it
impossible.
full contact? Can
It's
you
gonna
hit?
be impossible.
Can you
to
hit him?
I don't.
You can rub him.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't want to get anywhere near him. You know my story about trying to hit somebody that size.
No.
Zdeno Chara.
How did it go?
I tried to play coy, and I thought I had him. I was like, I'm going to blow this guy up. And I went into a corner, and I was acting like I was fumbling the puck in my feet, knowing that
You were
he'd-
faking it.
yes,
Okay.
knowing that he would come in there and just try to like.
And
hit
then you're
me,
gonna
but he'd
reverse
kind of
hit
be
him?
like, he'd kind of be nonchalant about it, you know. And then I was going to reverse him with every ounce of power that I had.
I love this, like method acting.
Yeah, and I did it.
You got him?
No, he got me. I hit him with everything I had, and my shoulder went dead, stinger all the way down my arm. He skates off with the puck, and I skate back to the bench. It was in that moment I was like, I'm never trying to hit that dude again. I literally gave it everything I have on a reverse hit, and he buried me. It killed my shoulder.
Did you go right to the bench?
Right to the bench. There's nothing. My shoulder was dead. I'm not kidding. It was like lightning bolts, not pins and needles. Lightning bolts down my arm. My arm was dead.
That's great. Hey,
So I don't hit dudes like that.
quick before we get into the interview, I got to give you credit. You've had really good instincts, I can always tell when you're feeling something, and sometimes you don't always say it. Like when Eck got injured, I just remember you being like, you just didn't look right, and I was like, what? You know, we can work through this, and you were like, yeah, maybe, maybe. And then with this playoff stuff, you did really well with the warm climate and the big boys and all that. What did you learn this year from watching the playoffs? Was there anything new where you were like this fourth line on Vegas, I think is a thing that people are copying now. Like I guess that would be depth, but this fourth line in Vegas got a lot of attention because they basically neutralized Kachuk, and they were these just gigantic guys on the fourth line. But did you learn anything, like goalies aren't as important as you think, or like what were your takeaways from the standpoint?
Well, where I would have to eat crow is that if you have
Two goalies, you have none.
Yeah, I have to eat crow there because it worked out, and that's where I didn't get into it with. We'll throw to the interview next, but we talked to Billy about having luck sometimes and the luck in the goaltender situation, but there's layers of luck with that. So you have a goaltender that catches fire at the right time, but it's also a contract year. And I don't care what anybody says. You follow sports and the data in sports, guys can perform and they can focus and they can dial it in a contract year it's just the way it is. And as much as I like to say I'm trying as hard as I can in a non-contract year, or I'm sacrificing as much, I'm giving you my all, you feel that you are.
Yeah.
But when you are desperate, there's like a level of effort, concentration, different things that you didn't even know that you had, right?
You're
and
absolutely
I think
right.
that's what Aiden Hill caught. It's a goaltender he was playing well. He got the net on a good club, and he caught fire, and he saw that, hey, this is an opportunity for me to have a job, stability, to win a cup, and laser focused, and he's able to do it for a couple of months. That is hard to do, is to stay in that zone of confidence for that long. He did it, boom. But it's luck. Like, if it's not a contract year for Aiden Hill, is he that good? I don't have the answer, but I think no. So they didn't get lucky because he played. He proved it. He was good. But there's a lot of things that go into it, and you have to get lucky in some of those areas. I think Vegas did. But yeah, that was a good club. I learned that I think it's the playoffs are fun again because you get these stories like Florida, the
Amazing.
underdogs. It gives validity to you just have to get in. It doesn't matter. You can be an 8 seed and make noise. They knocked off the best team that's ever played in the regular season in Boston, from down 3 games. They did it. And then they win the next series. And it's not just, hyperbole to say that you make it to the playoffs, that you got a chance to win it. I don't think that's the case in other sports all the time, but it is in hockey. So that's kind of fun. That was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a long deal.
Yeah.
I mean, the Wild were just at like the calamari, We didn't even get into it. I mean, when you go all the way, imagine Florida. Imagine Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett not winning.
I've been there.
And yeah, you've been there on Jersey, right? And I mean, holy cow.
It's still really
That's
rewarding.
It is, and it changes your career and your life, I'm sure. But I mean, it's just months.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were living that, I mean, I remember thinking like I wasn't even healthy at the end of 2 weeks because it was just up and down and late nights and stress, and I mean to ride it. I think don't get too high and don't get too low is such a good advice. Just ride it out. Trust it, and trust what you have. Should we go to our interview sponsored by Duke Cannon, the GM himself, Mr. Billy G?
Yeah, Billy's the best, and anytime he sits down with us, we have a blast. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks, Billy, for sitting down with us. Here he is.
We got the GM, Mr. Billy G, in the house. We're going to ask him things that no one else is going to ask him. Check on his tan, see how his eye drops are working, all those things. But welcome back to the podcast, Mr. Guerin. Hey, how was your 4th of July? I picture you being a big 4th of July guy, so I want to know outfit. Did you host? Food? Who was there? What did you do? Am I making that up, or you care about the 4th?
Oh, I cared a lot about the 4th.
That's a big one for you.
Yeah, we're celebrating our nation. I love it. It's a big deal. We were in Ocean City, New Jersey, at our place down there, and actually it was a pretty low-key day.
But you hosted. Like you had people at your...
No. You know what? No, we did not host anything. We did burgers and dogs for lunch, and Lexi, our youngest, was working that night, so we wanted to get that checked off before she left. Yeah, and then we just kind of hung out. There wasn't really much to do, but it's always fun. We have in Jersey a lot of the time, most of the time, you have these double-decker houses. So like, and it's just the way it is, right? So we're on the first floor, and we have neighbors above us, the Clotters, and they're awesome people. So we have 3 girls and a boy, and they have 3 boys and a girl, and there's triplets in there, but so there's 2 boys that are 22, 23, and then 1 boy that's like 19. So Liam hangs out with them quite a bit. They all hang out, but they're all playing like beer pong and stuff like that. And I don't know, this new dice game that you got to throw it in the air. And I don't know. But it can get to be like a little bit like Animal House.
I like it.
From time to time, but it's a lot of fun.
So what set the scene? The beach is there. Like, is it a surfing spot? Is it?
Yeah. I mean, the beach is right there. It's we're lucky enough to have a beachfront place. And there's, when you look out, especially down at the shore, there's, people go down for the day, like they're there in the morning and they don't leave till night. And there's people that bring their flag poles and, raise their American flags, and they have their tents or their tents for the shade and beach umbrellas, and it's just awesome. It really is a great scene, and it's a really good place to be for 4th of July.
How about the fireworks, you guys? Is there a fireworks show there?
Yeah, yeah. We can see down towards the if you're on our deck and you look to the left, that's north. It's like Atlantic City's down there, but the Ocean City Boardwalk's probably it's like 2 miles from our house, so we can see all the fireworks from the boardwalk, and then people are out on the beach firing off their own. They fire them into the air, though, which is nice, not at other people.
Not at the houses.
Yeah,
That's good.
which
Hey,
is nice.
are there like Jersey Bill stuff that comes out? Like, when you're in Jersey, do you dress different? Like, do you have like a bunch of Tommy Bahama stuff or like a different pair of flip flops? You go to a sandwich place you love.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what are the what's Jersey Bill like?
Well, I don't have one of these, but when you're down at the Jersey Shore, sleeves are optional,
Okay.
right? So and so are shoes. But I've had the same pair of. I just leave a bunch of stuff down there, and I've had the same pair of flip flops for like 10 years. They're pretty worn out. I think I need a new pair, but it's shorts and t-shirts. There's some nicer restaurants and things that you have to get dressed, a little nicer for, but if you're in shorts and a golf shirt, you're pretty much that's the most you have to get dressed up, and it's great. And I don't, you just do whatever.
So sleeves are optional. Are you a cutoff guy, or I wonder if you got a little crazy with the scissors because on your arm here it looks like maybe you did.
No,
Were you doing yard work.
That was my golf game yesterday. I was in a tree. that was bad.
How'd you do on the shot? Did you get out of trouble?
Oh no, I was so bad yesterday.
It was a brand new Titleist. I'm going in for
Yeah,
it.
exactly. It's an $8 ball. Well, I'll get back. So
It's got a Wild logo. They'll know it's mine.
yeah. Oh,
Billy G.
yeah, they will know.
13.
But in Jersey, there's Wawa. Wawa, it's kind of like
Gas station grocery store thing.
yeah, it's kind of like holiday, but the food is awesome.
So you go straight
So
up.
it's a quick
And
trip.
like you Wawa's it's just a thing, and it like you can. I mean, there are days I'm in there 3 times.
Like getting a chicken sandwich or like
Just,
what?
yeah, I'll just go in sometimes in the morning, get a coffee. Then you go in for lunch and you get a hoagie. It's Hoagie Fest is on right now, so the deals are really good.
So the hoagie.
So yeah, you go in to get a roast beef hoagie or an Italian hoagie or what you can get. You can get mac and cheese. You can get, burritos but it's really good.
Can you get a membership of some sort, or is it just cash?
You know what it sounds
Not a
like?
membership; it's cash.
Is this heat lamp?
But they have
or
this
is it
stupid
behind the
law.
counter?
They have this stupid law in New Jersey now where they don't give out any bags. So
Oh,
no
no.
bags in grocery stores or Wawa or anything like that. So you always forget, and then you're
The
carrying-
paparazzi.
you're carrying stuff out like it's honestly.
They could
I
do
get
paper
it.
bags.
Save the planet and all that stuff. It's stupid.
Bill Guerin, Hoagie Fest, paparazzi.
It sounds like a
TMZ.
quick
I'm
trip.
telling you, the Wawa
Tripping.
Wawa is the greatest place to go. It is awesome.
I'd like to try it. Let's go on the road to Jersey this year. We'll go to Wawa. Check it out. What would you recommend? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Or all three?
All 3.
All right. So just post up at the Wawa.
Yeah, you can post up. And the thing is, too, and
Sign up for the
my
reward.
son Liam's right there off camera. He can attest to this. When you're walking in, everybody holds a door for everybody. Like it's this crazy thing, and everybody says thanks. I'm right. And if you don't hold the door for somebody at Wawa,
You get the stink eye.
no, they will tell you to f off. Like if you get out in the parking lot, they'll be like they'll give it to you. Like
Yeah.
it's just
This sounds like it does a slightly nicer version than Quick Trip because Quick Trip it's got good coffee, it's got plenty of food, and then also has great bathrooms. So you will go there 3 times because after you drink the coffee, you'll have to go back again.
Do you use the restroom at Wawa?
But then they say goodbye after. Like, what do they say at Quick Trip? We'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. We'll see you next time.
oh no, these are the
Every single
customers.
time.
These are the customers.
Oh, it's the
These are the customers. Like everybody, it's just a thing, a
happy
courtesy
place.
thing.
So there's a winning culture at Wawa. Is
Huge,
what you're
yeah.
saying
It's-
as a
yeah.
GM. You're
Yeah.
saying
Oh, for sure.
they're onto something. I like too that they police it. If a guy doesn't hold the door, they're gonna get in your face. Character guys.
Yeah, it's just it's a thing. Any Wawa you go to, any neighborhood or whatever, people just hold the door for you. It's just
That's a strong start. Can we go backwards for 1 minute?
Mhm.
We're gonna do a little bit. We're only gonna go backwards for a second, but did you watch? Do you watch like all the playoffs? Like, do you keep watching every game, or how does that work when you're
I
a
took
GM?
I took a little break.
Yep.
When we were done, but then I got back in the saddle.
Did you learn like what? I've heard you talk like the league is a copycat league. Everybody's kind of chasing last year's heroes, but what did you learn watching it? Was there anything you're like, oh, okay, that's maybe a trend, or you know,
Well, now everybody's talking about how big you have to be.
size?
You know, and you know, Vegas is a big team, and they've got big, heavy D and all that stuff. But you know, we always talk about it like you have to be. You know, it's great if you are big, but you have to be good too. Like their D are big and good. You can't be big and suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
Yeah,
just the way it is. Like you know, we can go out and get some big guys, but if they're no good, what good is that going to do us? They just happen to be very good players too. So I think that's the key. And you know, they were the best team. I mean, they really were. They were by far and wide the best team.
But now there's a difference, and I think this is kind of what Kinger's talking about. There's a difference in the best team during the regular season and the best team in the playoffs. Was that the best team in the playoffs, or do you think that was the best team all year long?
I think probably all year long. But you know what? They also got Mark Stone at the end too, which was a nice little bonus. Yeah. But they're good enough where they're, you know, I mean, they won the conference too, so they weren't terrible during the regular season. But then when you get into, you know, hard physical hockey in the playoffs, they're built for that too.
You know what I don't think a lot of people talk about is how to win a cup too, and people talk about how they were a great team, they had good D, they were physical, but it's almost very rare that somebody mentions about the luck and the fortune that teams had. But every team that I played on that went to the final or won a cup, we had quite a bit of luck that goes into it too. Like their goaltender caught fire at the right time. Like their matchups were good at the right time. You know, there's luck that runs into this too, and you can get yourself. I feel like you get yourself in trouble chasing certain things when you know certain clubs had good fortunes with their matchups or with the way that you know games played out and different things, and you start chasing what you believe to be like Vegas's D were big, so like you say, I'm going to get 6 big D men, and then all of a sudden the league has changed, or you don't catch the breaks, and then you're always chasing something. But do you feel that?
I agree with you,
there's
100%.
a certain level of
Everything you
luck
just-
that goes into that?
Everything you just said, I 100% agree with. You have to, you know, that old saying, I'd rather be lucky than good.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have, you know what, you have to stay healthy. You have to get some bounces. You have to, you just have to have good luck. And everything's, you know what, like, you know, nobody thought, you know, Aiden Hill would be the answer.
Right.
But he was great. He played, you know, and he might never be that good again.
Right.
And that's happened before. But it doesn't, but then it doesn't matter. Like, they just timed it right. Like I agree with you. Any team that I've played on that's gone far into the playoffs or won championships, it's like a feeling you get that you won't be beat. You just won't. And no matter what situation you're in, you just know you're not going to lose. There were 2 series in 2009 against the Caps, and then in the finals against Detroit, we were down 2-0 to start both of them. You just didn't feel like we were going to lose. And then, you know, you didn't think Flower was ever going to give up a goal, or whatever situation happened. You were just going to come out of it, and a lot of it, you just ride that wave. Yeah, mm-hmm. and the luck part is huge, and the health part. Like, you know, for us, when Eriksson Ek got hurt. You know, you could, you know, we were watching the game and the air just left the booth, like the GM booth. It was just like, oh, what happened?
Yeah, that one sucked because you knew.
That was.
Well, I remember we did the pod right after that, and I can sometimes read Ryan's language, and I was like, "Do you think are we in trouble?" And he said, "He does a lot of things, man, a lot of things." Yeah. And so Carter had a couple theories, and I thought he was crazy when he said them. but I want to run them by you because I think they're kind of interesting. I watched way too much of the playoffs. So the size thing is something we've talked about a lot, being big and physical, and I think you're building a team that way for sure, regardless of what Vegas just did. But he was talking climate a little bit, and we were looking at the teams that were successful. Canada hasn't won a cup in many, many years, and a lot of these Sun Belt teams are doing well. And he was talking about when he was on Anaheim back in the day, if you can create an atmosphere where no one wants it to end, and part of that's what you said, it's the DNA of we're not going to lose, but part of it might just be, I don't know, it's sunny out, it's we're winning, everything's happening, it's great. Do you think there's ever a day where somebody takes, so we're Minnesota, we're practically Canada, where they say, hey, during the playoffs we're neutral site, we post up in Arizona and we go on this run? I mean, because I actually, when I looked at how successful the Tampas, the Floridas, that time of year coming out of the winter, do you think there's anything in this climate, sunny kind of thing? I know St. Louis won it and Colorado won it.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. I just think that's the way it kind of worked out. I mean, they're good teams. That's there's nothing better than playoff weather too, and you get that more than one. You don't just get that in the South.
Yeah.
Normally you get it here too, but this year was
playoff weather is great.
Brutal. Playoff weather is the best.
When you feel it. Like we've played long enough.
It changes, and like the sun starts coming out. The days are getting a little longer again, and you're going to the rink, and there's some really warm days, and it's just there's something to it. There's playoff weather for sure. But hey, look, I played in a couple warm weather places, and it's fantastic, right? It is, but my wife would punch me in the face anytime, or try to punch me in the face anytime she heard me say it. I missed the hockey elements, the hockey weather. I did. And she would laugh at me. She's like, I'm pretty happy here in the summer. Like, I don't know about you. The pool's still open. But I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I love hockey. I love everything that hockey is all about. And that's part of that is the winter. And I think it just creates a great atmosphere too. Like, I don't know.
Do you need a billet home for Pat Maroon? Because I'm an empty nester, and I got a pontoon, close, 15-minute drive. Seems like a pretty fun guy.
I'll put it on
you got a bulletin board?
Memo board down there, and just say, I'll leave your
room
number.
for rent.
I saw, when I was doing my research for this podcast, I saw a YouTube video that said Pat Maroon doing Pat Maroon things. And I was like, okay, that's a good sign. So what are Pat Maroon things? Reeves, some of these personalities maybe leaving the building, these kind of jam guys. What do you expect a winner like Maroon to bring into the room?
Exactly what you see on TV, like exactly what you see in anything from the way he plays the game to the battles that he creates to, honestly, the personality you saw in the way he celebrated a Stanley Cup victory, or just the interview, the personality that he is, and the player that he is. That's why we got him. Like, I just don't want him to change. And that's what I told him. Just be who you are, do what you got to do. And the one thing I do like about Pat is that he knows the game, he knows the role, he knows what he has to do. I feel like he's a guy that pulls his team into the battle. Not to say we don't have those guys or haven't had those guys, we do, but this is just another one of those guys, and he has Stanley Cup winning experience, and that to me that's important.
I heard you say that pulls guys into the battle. And I love the phrase, but I don't know exactly what it means. What does that mean? How would a guy like that do that?
It's just when things aren't going right, and sometimes you have to do stuff you don't want to do. You know what? Sometimes you have to step outside the rules a little bit to create energy, to make sure that everybody's on their toes, and he does that. I was watching a clip the other day, and he was, in New York City, and I think they were down. And he hit the goalie. You know what? But that sparks something. That creates, not that you want him running the goalie, but he knew he was going to create energy that way, and it's a simple thing. I mean, that's what I mean. And we do have guys like that, but this is just another one.
Well, and it's interesting too, because I think you have to have experience to be the most effective as a role player. Because you look at, and I can talk about it because I played it, but like the bottom six, the role isn't necessarily, get the red line, put it in the corner, get it out, finish your checks, be defensively responsible. It's knowing when your club is flat, and then maybe having to pretend like you don't need a stick for a shift, or even leave it on the bench and say, I'm just going to hit everybody, just to create a type of energy. And I think you have to have experience, you have to have confidence, you have to do those things. And then you also have to be smart to know the message that the coach is sending you during the intermission, to know how you have to respond out there, and to know that it's not the job of 6 other guys sitting next to you on the bench to do that. That's your job, right? And to go out and do all of that. And I think that's what Maroon will help with too. It's hard to have sometimes, in my opinion, really young guys in role positions that don't fully know the role yet. They need to learn that from somebody. And I think Pat has every aspect of the role that he will play mastered. I could be wrong, but
no, I think you're right. I think you're right, because like the old Herb Brooks always had the saying, the game within the game. And that's true. There is a game within the game, and it's, it is the physical play. It's the stuff after the whistles. It's the trash talk, and it's all that stuff. Meanwhile, while staying focused on how you have to play, and get things done on the ice. And I think he's probably one of the better guys in the league at it.
The draft. It was interesting. I saw Terry Ryan from the Twins. They just inducted a guy into the Hall of Fame that was his partner for drafting, and he was the GM of the Twins, and said, he kind of let the draft guys do the draft, and he wouldn't get into it too much. How does it work for you as GM? Are you super hands-on, or does Judd and those guys kind of do it and you oversee it, or how does that all work when you're making picks?
No, I listen to Judd. Judd is the director of amateur scouting. That is his profession. That is what he does on a daily basis. I do not. So for me to come in, at the 11th hour and say, well, we're going to pick the guy that I like. Well, what, why would I do that? I haven't seen these guys, or I've seen them once, and that's not enough to give you the credibility to make the pick. So I like putting people in positions and letting them do their job. There was some discussion, this draft, and, like where we had a group of players that we were comfortable getting any one of them. But I was open about like picking positionally maybe this year. And it just so happened we got the guy that we wanted. And it looks like we did that, but Judd told me 3 months ago that we were going to probably get one of 3 guys, and one of them was Charlie. And that's how good they are. That's how they can pinpoint it. But I let them do their, even the moving up, moving back. I listen to them. They Judd will send me out some, this year he sent me a list of scenarios that we could do with other teams if certain situations are, came about. And all right, I listened to them. And at the table, I'm like, do you guys want to move up? You want to move back? What do we need to do here? Because they know the value of the picks better than anybody.
Well, I wanted to give you an opportunity, since you get to kind of ride along with the draft group at the draft. If you had to draft Nashville establishments, top 3, I know how you feel about Tootsie's. I know that's Connor Bedard. I mean, you did great PR for Tootsie's. I'm a big fan of the place as well. But who are the top 3 picks, Nashville? Bars, restaurants, greasy breakfast spots. What's on your draft board, Billy G? Nashville.
Okay. Hey, listen, I think first overall is Tootsie's.
Yeah.
I think it's a blast. It's great. Second is Legends. I love Legends because it's smaller. You're right there. If you get a good spot at the bar, you're right in front of the musicians, and it's fantastic. One afternoon, Chris O'Hearn, Taylor Cashman, and I had the window seat looking over, and that was like
Perfect.
that's like oceanfront property there. That's unbelievable. And then love Jack's Barbecue, right on Broadway there. Love Jack's Barbecue. And then Robert's Western World is good because you can go in Robert's. I think it's like a fried bologna sandwich, a PBR, and a bag of chips for like $4.50 or something.
That's the double level
Yeah.
place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where it goes
Yeah,
up
yeah,
like that.
It's fantastic.
I think Tootsie's,
awesome.
what's so amazing about Tootsie's is, well, first of all, every 30 minutes there's the next Carrie Underwood on that little tiny sweaty
Yeah.
stage. But that place can get you a drink. I don't care if there's 50,000 people in Tootsie's. If you think you want a drink and you turn your head like this, it's in your hand, and you don't even know how they did it. They're the best bartenders in the world.
Yeah,
Those
they're-
girls at Tootsie's are
they're-
unbelievable.
They're fantastic. It's such a great town. I haven't even been to Kid Rock's place yet, or is it
Jason Aldean's.
Jason Aldean's?
I've heard those are good too.
I heard they're really good. I guess I can't get past the first block.
Yeah, I've got a couple of spots. So Santa's Pub or Santa's, have you ever been there?
No, I've heard of that. A lot
It's
of our
different.
guys
It's
go
off
there.
the beaten
Yeah,
path.
which is good.
Yeah, and it's just a bar. It's a bar.
Yeah.
But it's great. And then the other one. So over time, and I would say the last 10 years for sure, Nashville went from you could get a seat at Tootsie's to it's really hard now.
Yeah.
And Broadway, you used to be able to drive down the road. Now on the weekends they completely shut it down. Like it's just so busy now
Crazy.
that I've fallen in love with another place. It's the 1230 Club. Have you been there?
I have not.
It's 3 spots. So it's like a speakeasy, it's like a bar, and then I think there's like a lounge. But it's one building, 3 levels, and on each level it's a different, it's like honky tonk, speakeasy or something. And then, but anyways, you got to check it out. It's a private club, and you can only get to the top if you have membership in it. And the top spot is great. I was there once for a birthday party, and unreal. But 1230 Club's a good way to do it too, because now like it's busy, but it's not so busy that you can't get in there.
Yeah. The other place that I didn't get to this time, and I love it. It's off the beaten path. I forget what part of town it's in, but it's called Pinewood Social. And you go in there, and they have like 6 or 8 old school bowling alleys in the back. They got a big bar in the middle and booths around. They have like bocce courts out back and things like that. And they've got great food, awesome Bloody Marys, like coffee bar in the morning. Pinewood Social, really, really cool spot.
God, I want to go to. We're going to Nashville.
So I want to ask you a quick question about the draft too. So as it's approaching and you're with Judd and you're doing all those things, do you put like parameters on like what you want organizationally? Like you said, you could pick a player, but are you saying like I want bigger bodies, or I like to have a physical element, or
Centers.
character? We should get into this too. I'll get into this: a center or character. Like, is it
We have
Stramel? Is that how
great-
you say it?
Stramel.
Okay, and then
That's how I say it.
yeah.
I don't know.
But for example, he's going to go back to Wisconsin. Now they have Hastings, who in my experience
Hastings is a
is
great
one of the
coach.
greatest culture coaches that I've ever seen.
Nice,
Right?
fantastic.
So he's going to go there and you can just fully trust that, okay, now, he's going to be in a great spot to develop for this game and stuff. But like, do you put parameters on, and obviously you wouldn't in culture that this kid goes to Wisconsin, let's do that. But like, I want big bodies, or I prefer this, or different things like that.
No, no, we have a criteria, and it's character, skill, competitiveness, skating, shot, all that stuff, and we have to do our due diligence, and we have to find out about the character. Like there are kids that go high in the draft that we don't even have on our list because of character issues, and they're just that's just it's extremely high, number one actually on our list that we check out because it's so important. I mean, hey, look, every now and then you can take a swing for the fences, but you've really got to do your due diligence on the kids, and our group does it. It's not size, it's not I mean, hockey sense is up there, all like just things like that. It's not a, you know, prioritize center or D or goalies or wings or whatever, and it's the next best player.
I'm going to bounce around a bit here, but you remember the show Caesar Milan? You remember how he would have like his pack of dogs, and then there'd be like a dog that would misbehave? Yeah, but he'd bring that dog into the pack, and then that's how he fixed that dog.
Yeah.
In terms of like free agency, I feel that you're comfortable and confident in saying that there's a good culture here in the locker room. Do you think it'd be like that's somewhat of an organizational strength because you can take that dog that might be somewhat out of character, 100%. Bring them in, and you're like, these guys will,
like the Patriots used to do that.
Yes, they will. They will police it themselves, and I think we've worked. We've worked really hard to establish a good culture here, and strong with accountability. And it starts with the players policing it themselves. That's the most important thing. So we feel more comfortably now that, you get to like free agency or trade or whatever. And we can say like, okay, this guy is maybe not the greatest, but the guys around him will make him better.
Yeah.
And they will handle it.
Yeah.
And I feel comfortable enough now that we can do that. Prefer to find guys with better character, but you know what? You gotta weigh these things too. How good is he?
Yeah.
How much can you put up with? I'm sorry, but this is professional sports. If you are an excellent player, we will put up with a little more.
We can make room.
Shit. If you are not good, we will not put up with your shit.
And if you're a thoroughbred, we will get you a calming goat, like in the movie Ferdinand.
100%. That's just the way it is. I'm sorry.
All right, we're going to take a quick break to hear from a couple of our sponsors, including Gem Sleep. If you're one of the millions of people having restless nights, mood swings, walking around like a zombie, you got to go to where they put sleep apnea to bed. And that is mygemsleep.com. They're going to take care of you. They're going to come to you. It's like the Uber of this world. Even Cart's mom has changed her life doing this. Although I don't know that her name is technically Mrs. Carter, but it sounds so cool to say it. So be like Mrs. Carter. Go to mygemsleep.com and give yourselves some bright eyes, full hearts, Gem Sleep.
Yes, nailed it. We'd also like to say thanks to Aquarius Home Services for sponsoring the podcast. And summer is here, which means that you're looking for a way to quench your thirst on these hot summer days. There's nothing better than a reverse osmosis system. You get good, clean ice from the filtered water. You get crisp tasting water, which is actually important. I'm usually not a water snob, but this time of year I am. But Kinetico it's a one-stop shop. They've got the softener, the reverse osmosis system. The softener is great for the skin, great for the hair, wash off all that sunscreen, uses less salt. I can't talk enough about how great it is. I've got terrible water at my place. Kinetico has solved all those problems with their products. So check out Aquarius Home Services. Leave that to the pros.
They're earning the right
to be recommended.
Well done, sir.
I'd say we're a little rusty.
I don't know. Your water might be.
So back to Tootsie's and a good cold beer. How much of the draft are you around other management, people from other teams, and then you just spark up these little conversations that potentially lead to what would be a maroon trade, right? Where it's you're all around and you're chatting, you're having a good time, and then eventually that leads to solving a need that you potentially have.
Yeah, usually they're conversations that let me start. Like building up to the draft, you are having more conversations than normal, and when you get to the draft, you can either continue those or, kind of put the finishing touches on a deal. It's very hard to walk up out of the blue and say, are you interested in player
Ryan
X?
Carter?
And yeah,
I'd love to trade you our color guy.
no, we're not. No, sorry. So it's hard to do it that quick, but then again, like the maroon trade, Julian and I spoke maybe it was even before the draft that he could make him available. And then, the time, it was probably 10 days. But, at the draft, it's more probably exchanging picks. It's really tough to do a quick player deal like that because they're important. You got to think about it. You have to make sure it's right.
But seeds are planted, maybe.
Yeah. But, we did it last year at the actually, we did it last year with Cam. And that took about 10 minutes. So I guess I just crapped on everything I just said. But but it's usually hard to do.
So Charlie, 6'3" center, 215. It was interesting. I saw they had his Bantam stats on something. 60 games, 60 goals, 69 assists, 129, 91 PIMs for Rosemount and Bantam hockey, which is like a John LeClaire season in Bantams for some reason. But
where did you get Bantam stats?
I don't know. I got into a
So I was going to ask. He said he did homework for the podcast.
I did.
Tell us what that means.
So
where did you
get that?
I went on the internet.
Hockey Hub.
This is the best thing I got on Charlie. So I wonder if Judd has this. So his nickname is Dolphin because this is the best part. In his own words, he is a good communicator, has respect amongst its other animals in the sea.
The dolphin.
That's what. So I got to ask. We're going to talk to Charlie later. I got to ask him what that's about. But this kid projects as a power forward, right? I mean, that's what. I mean, I don't know if that makes me. Is that a stay away, a quote like that, or you're more excited to meet the dolphin? I don't know. It's pretty. A good communicator has respect.
I like it
amongst its other animals in the sea. Even the way it's said it's like Shakespeare or something. So I'm excited to meet this.
Borderline cuckoo.
Yeah, it's a little.
But I like that. I think that's good.
What have you got to know him a little bit? What does he seem like?
No, I haven't seen or talked to him since draft day. We've had a lot going on, and then I need a little break.
I know he's excited about Hastings. I think maybe we'll sneak you over to Mariucci and watch some of those Wisconsin-Minnesota series this year.
I saw him last year play there.
Yeah, he should be buzzing.
I'm really excited about him going with Hasty. I mean, Hasty he's as good a coach as there is out there. I mean, he's actually, when I was still with Pittsburgh, I brought him to our development camp as a guest coach, and actually really funny. So we were at my house in Pittsburgh one night, and I lived down the street from our golf course. And they had these drinks called the Manning, and it was vodka with this what was it called? It was a lemon soda from Ireland. I can't believe I forget it.
Perrier?
No. It was like God, I can't remember it.
I have a smartphone,
but it's this. So our club imported it for this guy. His last name was Manning, so they started calling it Manning. So I got a bunch of the lemon soda for my house, and Hasty and I were having these Mannings, what they were called. And like a week later, I get a text, "Hey, what was that stuff called? Can I, and I sent him the text or whatever." And then he said like 3 days.
Club Lemon?
Club Lemon, yeah, Club Lemon. And then yeah, good one. And then like a week later, he sent me a picture with like a case of Club Lemon on his counter. He had like ordered it.
I'd like to try that drink. That could be a drink of the pod, maybe.
Fantastic.
Manning's. I like it.
Phenomenal.
Development camp happening right now. As a GM, Carter was talking earlier. It's almost like an orientation, like to the facilities and the team and everything. But as a GM, what are you looking for at Devo or development camp?
That's it. This is not an evaluation.
Okay.
I get development camp. I don't always agree with it because when we first started doing these, they were brutal. They were a week long. Mm-hmm. Teams are bringing in 50, 60, 70 guys, free agents that'll, you're never going to sign. And we would grind them like ice, workout, activity at night and get up, do it in the morning, testing, all this. So the kids would have to train for development camp, which isn't the proper training for summertime. They would come to development camp for a week, and we'd put them through the ringer. They'd be dead tired leaving, and then they'd have to rest for a week and then restart their summer training. So I just think it totally screws up what they really need to be doing. So for me, perfect development camp would be, and maybe we might do this, is off ice, no ice. And just do an orientation to the organization, what we expect from them. This is how we do things. This is the city that you're hopefully going to be playing in, living in. This is what it has to offer. All those things. But you also shouldn't have to come to 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think maybe I go against the grain a little bit on that, but I believe so much in what they do in their off-season training. It's just so important. And we put this thing right in the middle of it that throws that all off.
Don't you think that it was probably developed when, like, even when I broke into the league, guys would probably put their skates away at the end of the regular season, and then they probably wouldn't grab them again until the middle of August, skate for 2 weeks, and then, start to get in shape.
Yeah.
And I think that's what management back in the day used to try to work out of younger kids. So they'd make you have to work out to be ready for development camp. So that they would know that, okay, at least he's been on the ice until, July 10th or 15th, and then he can take a couple weeks off, and then he'll just have to start skating in August. I feel like that's what it was back in the day.
Yeah.
Because they're like,
It's
we don't skate.
More
Kids
control.
nowadays skate all the time.
They skate.
They work
all
out
the time.
all the
It's
time. You
crazy.
don't have to motivate them anymore. Like
No.
they do on their own, it seems like.
It's insane how much. I remember 2 quick stories. So I remember one of my first training camps in Jersey. I was skating around with Scotty Stevens, and Scotty would skate barefoot, and because he's like a man's man, like he's
Yeah.
So he's kind of like hopping around on his skates. I'm like, new skates. He goes, yeah. And Scotty take them right out of the box, sharpen them, put them on, and go. And
Barefoot.
and I'm like, new skates. He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, how long you been skating? He goes, today's the first day.
Yeah.
It was training camp,
It's crazy.
and he was like the best guy. Like, he was sick. It was, so guys didn't skate. And I remember going, I was going into my last year, and I went back to Pittsburgh, and I went to the practice rink, and all the guys were skating already and stuff. And I said to our equipment guy, Dana Hines, I'm like, do you have my stuff? And he's like, yeah. He's like, and like, a bunch of guys are sitting across the room from me, and they're like, you didn't get your equipment this year? I'm like, no, I didn't. Dana's like, yeah, he never called for it. So he brought my bag out, and I had to cut the zip tie off my the zippers
With the FedEx
open
tag
it up,
and your
and I'm
address on it.
I'm like, Dana, can you there's tons of rust on my blades. Can you just sharpen those a little bit?
And let's keep this between
Yeah,
us.
and any
That
chance you
was-
don't tell
That
management.
was that was day one. I still had like 3 weeks to camp, but I was late. I was late to starting. But we used to never skate in the
Right.
summer.
Why
That's
is
how it
that?
was.
Why is that cooler? By the way,
What?
Like, that Stevens story is so much cooler than what's happening now. Like, that cowboy element of hockey, right? And I'm not saying guys shouldn't be in shape, but it just seems.
Oh, he was
we've
in
gotten,
shape.
but we've gotten kind of robotic, right? It's like we've lost the hot stove, we've lost the the 6-pack in the back of the bus kind of element a little bit as it becomes kind of this new age.
I
love
feel
hearing
I feel
stories
like
like
what some kids do is they, first of all, a lot of kids overtrain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of kids develop such a high skill level, but they don't know how to play the game. They can do one of those stupid Michigan goals, or some shot between your legs, but they can't play the game, right? Or they just, and some kids they just play so much hockey, and that's all they can talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I don't know. Sometimes you just want to see kids be kids too. Have a summer.
Scotty Stevens is such a unit. Like at the end of that day, the skates were blistered. His feet were totally fine. You know.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, the skates were screaming for mercy.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's terrifying.
So
He's great.
So I played for him. He was the PK and D coach in Jersey, and he would bring his computer around to show video, and the keys on the keyboard were honestly like his skates in that scenario. Like he would just touch it, and as light as he could touch it, the key would explode.
Yeah.
So he'd be like hitting the space bar, and it'd sound like I was like hitting it with my fist. And then you look at his fingers. I think his ring was like a size 17 or something.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like his hands were literally the size of my screen here. When he made a fist, like this was the size of his fist.
He shaves with a
So
knife
huge.
for sure.
Yeah,
just
so huge.
Sure.
Let's get to free agency because what was that? You know, what was that like? Like you obviously going with the plan. You know that you have, you know, the issues with available funds and different things.
Yeah.
Like what was the plan? What how did it go? Walk us through that.
The plan?
Yeah,
The plan was not to screw up.
not to spend more than you have.
Yep. Don't screw up. Don't get
Greedy.
don't get too. I was pretty bored.
that has to be very hard for you.
Don't do something stupid and put us in a tough spot. Stay patient. So there are a lot of times during the day where I would just kind of get up and go for a walk, maybe, or just walk to my office and leave my phone back, or I'd say, hey, what about this? And all the guys are like, no, just stay patient. And it was tough because you see everybody else kind of getting involved, and you can't. But I do think that was the best thing that we did was nothing. And I had to go back a couple times and look at the board and be like, you know what, this is good. This is all right, because we have our team is intact. Like we're going to be in a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
We're losing a couple guys, but we're also plugging them in with like we're not going to be able to bring Dumbs back, but you know what, Brock Faber's going in there. That's exciting to me. We forget, like Marcus Johansson signed for a couple of years, and that's exciting to me. All these different things. So our D is set. We don't have to do anything. Our goalies are set. Yeah, we got to sign Gus, but we'll get there. So there wasn't really that much to do.
Right.
So rather than do something silly on that day, we just wanted to like Kevin Bacon in Animal House, remain calm, all is well.
Do you know what guys are doing in the summer, or are you like the teacher in the last day of school when they throw their books out the bus? Like you don't have any idea what they're doing until you see them in the.
No,
fall?
I know a bit of what they're doing. I don't
like who's where.
Yeah, I know who's where. I know who is. We all know where they're working out. The biggest thing is we know who needs extra attention. We will send Matt Harder, our strength and conditioning coach, out on the road to visit those players that we feel need extra attention. For the most part, let the guys have their summer, and you trust that they're going to come back in good shape. And, I think they will. We really haven't had many problems, since my first year here. And it's good. And again, that's part of the culture too. Like if you don't come in good shape, you'll be exposed, and that's not a good feeling.
No. Last hockey question. With Gus and some of the RFAs, like, is there a timeline on the process for getting those guys signed, or is it just a matter of communicating with the agents? And obviously some of the guys that have arbitration, that they'll have hearing dates and things that are set like that.
Yeah.
And are those dates kind of like the hard kind of deadline? Like you have to be patient until the 11th hour, and that's kind of when those things get done, or?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times that happens. I think it's stupid because the deal that we do then could have been done today. You know, I mean, we all know where we all know the numbers and where they're going to lie. You know, we all have the same information. It's just, it's kind of, I don't know. It can be just a game, and sometimes you can just put all that stuff aside and get it done. I mean, I'd like to get it done today, and for all of them. But you know, that's not always the way it works, and that's why we have, you know, there are tools in the CBA like arbitration that you know can be good for the player, and you know can be good for the team. So sometimes you have to use it too, and it's just you know, I always just feel that there's a deal to be made, and I make offers to get deals done because I respect guys. I don't want to I want them to be happy with their deals as well. They have to be. If they're not, then it's going to be a problem. So you have to make sure that they're happy with that. And I don't want to. I respect what the guys do. They're good players. I want to make them fair deals, and I don't want to try to grind them because they don't deserve that either.
Awesome. No, I think. Are you going to do any of the crazy game of hockey stuff this weekend? Are you going to go see there's, I guess, an event Friday with country band and comedian, and there's a kind of a game on Saturday. Are you going to do any of those festivities?
Yeah, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm not sure which ones yet.
Yeah.
I've seen the schedule, but I forgot what it all is, so I'm going to have to look at it again.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. That Yam House is a nice little band on Friday night.
Yeah,
I've
Whitey's
seen
done a good job. You know, this is
a big deal.
This could be a blast. Like we've got some great people coming back for it. I think people are really excited. This could be a really fun weekend. I mean, I didn't make the cut. I didn't get invited to play.
Really?
But I don't know.
Hey, what did you wear when you were drafted 5 overall? Like, set the stage. Just closing the podcast interview. Number 5 overall, 1989. Like, what are you wearing? You got any cologne? You were at Met Center.
Met Center.
Okay, so like Z Cavaricci's, Gerbeau's, Timberlands. What?
No, it wasn't Gerbeau's.
Calvin Klein.
So good.
Awesome.
So
Those
good.
are the best. Had a little tight roll.
Yeah, I never rolled.
Mock turtleneck. You
Henley.
didn't roll?
I didn't roll. We were big into Timberland boots with the
With the tongues out.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
tied.
yeah,
You do the little knots.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Green polo
The cologne back then was either Polo
or Drakkar.
or Jacquard.
That's the only choice.
Cool. What about Cool Water? You don't remember that one? Cool Water cologne?
Cool Water.
Obsession.
You guys are a little too old. Sorry about that.
Obsession and Cool Water.
Cool Water was like the biggest
You gonna get a
thing
bucket
ever.
of lake water?
Yeah, basically everybody had a little blue
No.
bottle. Yeah, Cool Water
So
cologne.
no, my
Do you remember the outfit?
yeah, I had like my draft suit was like blue, kind of like there was a pattern on it, double breasted.
Of course.
I mean,
Solid. Loafers, probably.
mullet.
Nice.
Curly in the back.
Of course.
Liam's got a nice curly mullet.
Yeah, he does. It wasn't that tight,
Well, he's
Yeah,
a whole
but
different
it
deal.
was yeah.
He's a Chia.
He is.
Son.
He is.
It's great. I'm jealous.
Yeah, we fertilized this morning. It's already growing.
Yeah, you should aerate that in the fall. That's when
Yeah.
it grows the best.
But then, I think I had maybe blue dress shirt and like a paisley tie type thing.
Sharp.
Where did I get that? I got it in
Jose Bank.
no. It was in West
Men's Warehouse?
Springfield, West Springfield, Mass.
I got from this place
Yale
called
Gent-
Wawa's.
What's it called?
Yale Genton was
Yale-
the suit store, and I got a suit from Yale Genton. I was like, holy, this is a big deal. But I remember going up on stage and Marshall Johnson handed me my hat, and it was like straight as a and I had to put the bend in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you got to give it the cowboy.
But I
bend.
wore it like back on my head.
Yeah, just up top.
Yeah, it seems like honestly, I remember that like it was yesterday. It was
How do they nail the hat size? Because they seem to always fit.
adjustable.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
nobody's
mine
ever
was.
fixing the back of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they're the
I
flex
don't-
fits
I
up
think
there
they're the
these
flex
days.
fits,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, last question. When you were talking to other GMs and you only have so much money to spend, did you say to them, "I just have Ryan Carter money," like just to give them a
Big
sense
minimum?
of, like just like I got like carts money, and that's shorthand for knowing how much you have.
Yeah, but that was like $550 back then.
Yeah, exactly.
I got more than that.
2 carts, 2 carts.
I got more than that.
I got a line of carts. All right, man. Hey, thanks for coming out. Another
this is
Duke
great.
Cannon interview. We always love talking to you. Hopefully, I see you watching some country music on Friday night.
Yeah,
You-
that'll be
You
good.
good, Carts?
Yeah, yeah, you're great.
Right.
There was one more change. We'll have to talk about it later. But the coaches with Mr. King, it sounds like he's going to
Oh, yeah.
play and stuff like that.
I don't know much about
Yeah,
him.
he'll jump right into Mac's position. I mean, he's a good guy. I remember I was with Wilkes-Barre, and we'd play St. John's, Newfoundland, in the playoffs every year, and he was their team captain. And I just remember how he just had that leadership quality about him, and the team kind of followed his presence or his game. He was really impressive as a player, and the guys that I know in Vancouver spoke the world about him, and his interviews were great, and he seems like he's going to fit in. Just right. He's got 2 young boys. I think they're 12 and 10, and he said they're really into mountain biking, and I said, well, if they're into stuff like that, this is
the place.
This is the place for you, because you can do everything and anything outdoors and active and stuff. So we're happy to have him and his family.
Does he go by Kinger?
Yep. Shit. We're gonna have to.
Hey, lower on the totem pole.
We're gonna have to get him. Well, no, we'll have
I
to
was
find
here,
him,
like-
we'll find him a new.
Yeah.
I do have a new.
Well,
I
no.
actually do have a nickname we could give him. I don't think I should.
Debut it
I
here?
don't think I should debut it here.
El Rey.
No.
We'll call him El Rey.
I do have it. I think I
It's
do have a
just-
nickname for him. But
How
I
about
will not.
Jason? Jay?
What it,
Buddy,
well,
come on, we're
we,
hockey
you
guys.
Jay.
can't, you
gotta have
can't, you can't tease us like that. You have to debut it here now.
I'm teasing you.
Oh bother.
All right, you got to come back then.
Thanks for having me on.
Billy Guerin, love it. Duke Cannon, thank you.
Billy's the best, man. He's always so great with his time too. Like we try to keep those to 25 minutes, but with Billy, it's just like a chilled conversation. It's 45 minutes, and he's a busy dude. And
How about he comes in and just gives us both a big hug? He actually lifted me up. I thought he was going to crack my back or like hurt me or something.
Yeah, and I went for a handshake. Okay, so he puts his hand up there at like a somewhat of
Blacksmith hand.
somewhat of an odd angle.
Yeah, he's going to turn your hand.
So you don't know whether to do like the thumb hug handle, and then it's
Oh.
like a bro hug. You know what I mean? That
yeah,
one.
the shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah. Or if it's a handshake and you have to tilt your hand a little bit,
But you can't go alpha on his hand, I don't think.
So it was, I went in for the handshake, but he wanted the thumb hug. So then I went for the thumb hug. Then I went for the shoulder bro tap, like 3 taps on the back. But then he dropped the hand, went for the full hug, and I was just mentally in a pretzel.
Did he lift you? Did he lift you up a little bit?
No, he didn't lift me up. But
So I once I see
maybe I blacked out trying to figure out what was going on.
Once I see a guy hugging, I'll usually say, "Get in here for the real thing," because then I think it makes them more comfortable that they would also hug me. Because it would have been weird if he hugged you and then gave me a handshake, I think. Although that could have happened. But I thought very insightful. We learned a lot. We learned that you don't day trip on the draft. You let your experts handle it. So best I can tell, it was like a vacation for Billy.
But a stressful one.
But he goes to Nashville and he's got his team figuring out the picks. You thought it was stressful for him?
Well, yeah, because he wanted to do more.
I know he wanted to be wheeling and dealing and can you imagine when his wallet's full again, how much fun he's going to have? I mean, he's going to be like trading everything, just having so much fun, signing people. July 1st will be a holiday in the Guerin household once he has money again.
You come out of it understanding though that he has a plan and he's sticking to it. And I mean, I think that you look at the way that they've gone about the summer and handling the guys that they have, and he has a plan. He knows what he wants and what he thinks he needs to win, and they're sticking to it. So it's cool, man. I do think it is, and it's interesting because it's almost like he's managing himself a little bit. Like he wants to do more, but more is not necessarily the right answer, and he knows that. So.
Yeah, he's had one hand tied behind his back for a long. And
but
I guess he would say he put it back.
He's
there.
tying it.
Yeah,
and he knows like this is this is me managing me.
Yeah, no, he definitely. We learned about Wawa in New Jersey. We learned about New Jersey Bill. We had a Nashville draft. He was a lot of fun to talk to. I want to ask you a question maybe to close this thing out. So this is one of the things I struggle with. I go back to that comment on the Wild schedule release, look forward to another first round exit, first comment. Wild social person's probably like, damn it. So what I heard from Billy is, build your core the right way, have a plan, the right types of guys, character, skill, all those things. And get into the dance, and you need a little, like you said, get in, get lucky, be good, right? So some things can shake out. When I watch the playoffs, one of the things people will do often is they'll say, keep your eye on Edmonton, because they really actually had a good playoff this year. They barely lost to Vegas or whatever the case may be, and now they've kind of made strides. So you should expect to see them break through in the near future. When I look at our group, I think you could argue the best playoffs we've had was maybe the Vegas series 3 years ago, as far as first rounds. I think it was probably better than this year and better than last year. Last year being the worst. So how do you feel about just sort of the chassis of the car?
I think
Give me some optimism is really what I'm asking.
Well, I think if you're looking at Edmonton as a comparable, they have things that they need to like figure out. I don't know. That seems like it's more of a, they're trying to wait for their guys to mature.
Mental blocks, like Toronto almost.
Yeah, to get there. They need Connor and Leon to figure a couple things out, and then they need to figure out the guys that complement them, and they need to do these other things. I just feel like with the Wild, it's different. And when Billy's plan comes together, he has a plan, and I think we can kind of see it, but we don't exactly know what it is. And when it comes together, there's not going to be a learning curve. It's going to be ready to go. You know what I mean?
And I agree. Well, first of all, Billy is a great one to trust to start, but the other thing is I think when you win one, they're just going to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like you get one, you get one goal on the goalie, all of a sudden it's open. I think you win one series, they're going to go. But well, should we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
A happy summer to everybody. We don't know what our schedule is yet. This was kind of an in-betweener. We wanted to thank our sponsors with kind of a free episode. Check in with New Jersey Bill Guerin, and enjoy yourself out there.
It's like State of the Union. We're going to do some more at the fair. If we need to get a group going to Sweden, we should probably do that. We'll get
sponsors. Yeah. Reach out.
If you guys need us on Sweden, reach out on the socials. And
if you're an airline, or you have a jetpack,
or even you just want us there,
or you're Swedish,
drop a comment.
Swedish Fish, we'd take a sponsor from you. Whoever's out there.
I had Swedish Fish for the 4th of July. They had white, red, and blue. It was like a patriotic version, United States.
That's not Swedish.
Fish.
That's not Swedish.
I was floored. They still
should be
good though.
Blue and yellow. We're here.
So let's hear.
Peace.
There.